Hello from the BBC World Service and welcome to the latest edition of the Documentary Podcast. Every week we bring you a range of stories from our presenters and reporters across the world. If you have the time, please rate the documentary on your podcast app and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think.
Coming to you live from Rikers Island. Indeed, right?
Hey, Rikers Island.
Yeah, we live. You're listening to BBC World Service. I'm Ryan Burvick, also known as Ryan Perfect.
So over check, time to check your living. Woke up and had to give myself an exorcism.
I'm an MC and producer based in Queens, New York City. And for the last few years, I've been going on to Rikers Island, New York's biggest jail, to make music with some of the young brothers awaiting trial there.
Gotta get some life under your belt and revolutionize.
It's all part of an education program called Beats, Rhymes, and Justice. And over the next hour, we're gonna take you with us to Rikers Island. I always say to people in jail that hard times could either make you tougher or suffer. You're gonna hear hope from a place of darkness and music out of incarceration. We're gonna hear stories from aspiring hip-hop artists serving time on Rikers, including Ayosay.
Sitting in my cell, yeah, I'm incarcerated. Talking to the Lord, thinking I ain't got no patience. Lord, forgive me, Lord, Lord. Please forgive me for my sins. Lord, forgive me, Lord, Lord. Please forgive me for my sins.
Beats, Rhymes, and Justice is a music production program designed to teach the youth how to control all the elements of music recording, and with it, control how they might carry themselves in the future. Some of the students, like Trigger, have big ambitions when they get off the island.
I always wanted to be a rapper, but now I say, I want to be an entertainer. I want to entertain people, make people feel good when they hear my music. I want to relate to young kids around my age, around the age of 18. I just want people to hear my story. That's my goal.
Trigger's goal is trying to turn his time on Rikers Island into something positive. And we'll hear from one of our past students who's been through the hip-hop program and has just gotten out of jail. Suave De Niro, that's his rap name. He's 19 years old. He spent 27 months on Rikers. And now he's back home in the Bronx, just trying to adapt to his life off the island and make it as a hip-hop MC.
It teaches you how to be a man. Jail is like an inside town. You get to see how men really think and stuff, how they move, how sneaky they could be and stuff. It really prepare you for battle.
These days, Suave is living with his mother. This is her.
I think it's hard in his heart. Just listen to how he talk. He talks so harsh sometimes, and I'm like, you don't have to be like that. For me, you shouldn't have to be locked down to use your talent. You understand what I'm saying?
We do a lot of different work. Some of that work looks like doing education programs inside Rikers, inside prisons.
I lead the Beats, Rhymes, and Justice classes with Cameron Rasmussen. He's a social worker from Columbia University Center for Justice.
About that a little bit, and we're going to do that through hip-hop. So people have heard of the 5 elements of hip-hop?
Rikers Island is a jail, not a prison. In other words, the majority of inmates there are awaiting trial. They might have been accused of theft, drug offenses, gun possession, or murder. We don't ask why they're there, but sometimes we just find out.
Rikers Island is one of the largest jails in the country, has a long history of violence. In the 90s, there was something like 20,000 people there incarcerated. Now there's 8,000, so there's been some changes.
It's right in between the Bronx and Queens, right next to the airport, LaGuardia Airport. If you ever visit New York and you fly into LaGuardia, your last 5 seconds of your flight, flying over Rikers Island.
They call the bridge to Rikers the Bridge of Pain.
John Sirico is a journalist for Vice.com. He's crossed the bridge from Queens to Rikers a number of times to report on the island.
There's no feeling like getting over that bridge and just seeing this expanse in front of you. It's something that you didn't even believe it was in New York City. It is sprawling, and what's so strange is that to the left in the distance are these skyscrapers of Manhattan, and so it kind of feels like you're going to some void.
A place haunted by its violent history. 8,000 inmates living in a kind of suspension.
For many New Yorkers, words Rikers Island are synonymous with violence.
You can survive Rikers Island, you can survive anything.
This is a badass place.
An institutionalized fight club happening within Rikers called The Program, where inmates violently fight each other to attain their place in the pecking order. Fast forward 4 years later, the Village Voice has obtained hundreds of internal correction department documents that expose that the program has never...
There was a massive expose in the Village Voice that showed something known as the program, which essentially was a fight club amongst the inmates that the corrections officers kind of coordinated and bet on.
Violence that advocates say have been going on for years.
This New York Times massive investigation that showed mentally ill inmates were basically being beaten because you had corrections officers there who had never had any experience with mental health. There was one man who pretty much baked to death in a room because it was so hot, and he died of heat exhaustion.
80% of people were there have not been convicted of a crime. I've had contact with more than 300 students over the last year and a half, and I can count on two hands how many white students I've had in our classes. So it disproportionately impacts certain communities in New York City.
In other words, Rikers is the hood. The tradition of hip-hop in Rikers is deep. Some of the greatest MCs, just to name a few, Slick Rick,
Once upon a time, not long ago, when people wore pajamas and lived life slow.
Tupac, Lil Wayne,
A millionaire, I'm a young money millionaire.
Biggie was there.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine.
We could say, yeah, these super famous, super influential, game-changing, life-changing people passed through these same doors, these same gates, these same stress, the same COs, they dealt with the same dramas, and they got up out of there. So that is the model that we use, because it is a hip-hop island. It is a soul island, for real.
Where they have the setup.
We're about to start a cycle of the Beats, Rhymes, and Justice program. We're bringing pen and paper, microphones, and iPads to make music with a group of men serving time on one of the island's many complexes, the George Machin Detention Center, also known as GMDC. You have to walk past at least 3-4 checkpoints where you're constantly showing your ID. You're walking past inmates housed in what it seems like some sort of solitary confinement inside of the hallways. You're passing by people doing duties and doing chores. I guess that's part of their living conditions. And we're walking past like a swarm, a team of correction officers. Every time it's new, man. Sometimes, like, even though I've been here before, even when I try to get comfortable, it never really gets that comfortable. Sometimes I even get harassed to show my ID, and sometimes I'm greeted with a very warm welcome, and today was the warm welcome day, so it looks like we're off to a good start. Cam and I brought a team with us. We got Ashley and Darnell from our production company, Audio Pictures. Darnell, also known as Camera Shy, works on the beats.
Usually we have like the first part of the day where we have everyone just getting to know each other, and then we break out into two groups. So it's the lyrics group and the production group. So right now we're just setting up the iPads, attaching the MIDI keyboards to it.
And from Columbia University, we've got students Clayton and Natachi helping us out.
When you get here, when the people come in, when the music starts going, it's like, there's the purpose.
Correction officers lead a line of students into the classroom. This week we've got 6 students, men between 18 and 21 years old. They're all wearing the same grayish beige prison uniform. We kick things off by giving them some dinner and talking to them about music.
So, good evening.
Good evening.
We're happy to be here with y'all, man. So I'm Cameron. I work with the organization called the Center for Justice at Columbia University, and we're working with our partners Ryan and Darnell Audio Pictures, and we run something called Beats, Rhymes, and Justice. So we're going to spend probably the next 45 minutes or so building together, getting to know each other, and then we're going to get into some music, right? And for people who don't rap, you're going to have the opportunity to learn how to make some beats.
From Monday through Friday, man, we're going to try to kick it with y'all, get you guys out the crib. Basically had this idea about 2 years ago to come into the Rikers Island, bring studios over here, bring iPads. If you guys got a passion for music, teach you guys how to create music, create a song, whatever you want to do from beginning to end. So we brought microphones, we got computers, we got like a little mini booth, and we got about 10 iPads with keyboards in the next room. All just to, you know what I'm saying, help you guys express yourself, get some things off your chest. One of the students in our class is Trigger. That's not his real name, it's his rap name. He's 18 years old, he's one of the quieter kids in the group, but he's got a certain intensity to him. You can tell he's a thoughtful guy. Today is a break from his routine.
My routine here is like wake up, we eat, go to school, shower, talk on the phone to family, watch TV, like regular stuff. our freedom is limited. We really can't do much, but we make the best of it while we're here. I thought, I was like, wow, I think this is my opportunity to get known. I've been making music for a while. You know, I want to make it somewhere with this music career. So it stuck out when they said I can learn how to make beats, and they're producers and they produce artists. I always wanted to be a rapper, but now I say, like, I want to be an entertainer. Like, I want to entertain people, make people feel good when they hear my music.
We plan the course carefully to get the students into a reflective mood before we start making music together. We do this by playing them some hip-hop that's smooth and cool and that relates to their time in jail. Today, we're listening to One Love by Nas.
So we're going to look at the song One Love by Nas, and we're going to just look at how he's using language and see what he's doing. All right? Cool. I'm going to pass out the lyrics.
For this particular cycle, we started off with One Love by Nas, which is essentially him writing letters to people who are inside. And really use that as a jump off for the folks who are writing to think about a template to begin their writing process and to write a letter to someone that's important to them.
Here's Darnell.
One, Nas is cream of the crop kind of artist, but also it allows us to do a lot of different things. So we could speak to the actual creativity, and then it is him writing a letter to someone on the inside, so that relevant to their life is immediately there, which allows them to connect to it.
We want to know what it's like for the students to hear this kind of music in jail. How does it speak to their situation?
I feel like I could connect to it. Feel me? Because like I'm picturing that, I was visualizing myself, my predicament that I'm in. Feel me? Made me think.
Y'all get letters in here? Letters from family, friends, loved ones on the outside. That's something pretty much everyone on Rikers can relate to. We were thinking something for the week of dedicating something to someone or something or whatever it is that's been showing you love or holding you down, whether it be your faith, whether it be your mother, whether it be family. Like, what would you say back in a creative form? You know, that's like some of the goals we want to get at you through this week. And hopefully we get to, you know, send it to the people that you're thinking about. So we want to make sure that y'all here, that we exercising thoughts of freedom, you know what I mean? I'm hoping this will be a chance for Trigger to express what's on his mind.
I came up pretty all right. I had a good life, but I just wasn't getting everything I wanted from my parents. Growing up in New York City, you see people with nice things every day. Like, my parents give me everything I need. Like, I always wore, like, expensive clothes, but I wanted more of it. And my parents was like, no, you have to earn it. So I was like, you know what? I can earn it, and I can get more of it. So then I got introduced to an older guy. He was like, yo, you want to make some money? You want to start driving nice cars? You want to wear nice clothes? I'm like, I already wear nice clothes. He said, you want more nice clothes? Start selling drugs with me. So then I fell into the wrong situation. I got locked up.
Just by show of hands, anybody here interested in making music, just in general? Oh, that's everybody, so it's gonna be live. All right, cool. So has everyone made music before?
I made a diss track.
You made a diss track? No doubt, yeah. What about you, brother?
I've been in the studio since I was 12 years old with my pops.
Another student in our class really wants to share the music he's been working on inside the jail. We're gonna call him by his rap name, Ayosay.
I got inspired by that, so I got in the studio at 12 years old. I was blessed to grow up in a house with a studio. My father, he does production. I grew up around music, so I had a lot of time. I actually dropped out of school and started recording mad music in school, in the house, and it's actually in the garage. So every day I was in the garage. Summertime hot in the garage, recording, and stuff like that.
Oh, that's solid.
And then when me made a mistake, now I'm here, but I'm still
growing up in a musical family, recording in his dad's studio, Ayosay knows a thing or two already about hip-hop. He's got a lot of confidence. That's good. I noticed that he has the other brothers in the class looking up to him. He's like a leader. He says some of the rhymes he writes are about some of his struggles growing up.
I started doing drugs, being in the street more. My head wasn't over there for me, but I ain't gonna lie, being locked up, it helps me because it keeps my mind open and keeping me positive. Not waking up thinking how I'm gonna get the next dollar or how I'm gonna dress to impress the next person. I just think better like, oh, how I'm gonna write or how I'm gonna show the world how to relate to what I've been through. The struggles of growing up, not having no food in the fridge, not being able to grow up in a house with a mom and a dad. Feel me? It's just like all of that in one, put it all together. It makes this like basically a movie.
In this tough environment, we want to show the brothers how they can turn their negative experiences into positive expression. With the struggles they face inside jail, this isn't an easy thing to do. And for people listening on the outside, some of the rhymes you're gonna hear might sound violent or challenging, but you have to remember the effect this music can have for someone on Rikers Island waiting for a court hearing. It has the ability to take them out of their cell, to free their mind, even if it's just for a second. It can give them hope. Listen carefully and you'll hear there's beauty in this music. You know there's nothing more inspiring than watching incarcerated brothers dancing and vibing in jail. Because if you've been following the news reports, you know that in the past, there's not been much reason to dance on Rikers. Here's the journalist John Sirico.
You had the story of Khalif Browder. Khalif Browder kind of embodies everything that is wrong with Rikers Island.
In this video, we see him being escorted to the prison shower. He appears to speak to the guard, who in seconds is seen slamming him into a wall and then to the ground.
Khalif Browder was a teenager in the Bronx, no older than 16 or 17 when he first went in, and essentially he was accused of stealing someone's backpack after school. And the next 3 years he spent on Rikers Island, a good amount of it in solitary confinement. So he was awaiting trial where he could never find his day in court.
Because I know deep down inside in my heart, I didn't feel at least comfortable saying that I did it. I wasn't gonna say that I did a case that I didn't do.
Why?
For the simple fact that I felt like I was done wrong. I felt like something needed to be done about this. I felt like something needs to be said. If I just cop out and say that I did it, nothing's gonna be done about it. I didn't do it, no justice is served, nobody hears nothing at all. I felt like I had to fight.
When he got out, there was profiles of him. He became a huge symbol of kind of the problems with mass incarceration. Basically what it did to Khalif is that it drove him to suicide. He ended up killing himself in June of 2015. And it shows you this impact that this jail can have on people. It's very traumatizing. It also forces people to plead guilty to cases that they might not be guilty for, just to get out. And Khalif refused to plead guilty. He staunchly believed that he was innocent. He was later acquitted of the charges.
Since then, the city's been trying to improve conditions on Rikers.
They want to end these headlines. There is very much a pressure on them now to see Rikers Island as a place that is rehabilitative and not a place that's known for its bridge of pain or its brutalized beatdowns. Millions of dollars have been dedicated to programs, whether it's job training, meditation. There's a poetry class, a theater class, and of course, the Rikers Island hip-hop class.
We got another one? Yeah. Keep flowing, man.
Do you know how I feel?
In the writing room, we set up a circle where some of the students are freestyling. We call it Cypher. For a second, you forget that we're all in jail. The young men are deep in this spirit of sharing their rhymes. It's just us in the room. The officers are in the hall outside, keeping an eye, but they're letting us do our thing.
It's really tragic to be in the cell with no one there, hoping that you walk out any day, go anywhere. Sometimes you wanna die, asking God to cut the air.
Natachi, one of our student volunteers from Columbia University, is also a rapper and a poet.
In day one, you don't even know these people yet, you know? And you hear their rhymes, and it's like a reflection of somebody. I'm mad blown away by the talent that is in this spot. Talented individuals. That's what we're working with.
Now we've got Ayosay on the mic.
I said, in my cell where I used to think I'm gonna get it back. Gotta move up, but on my mama, I ain't going back. I had a dream, but in that dream, I ain't make it home. So from that day, I put this trust in this chrome. Went from copy 8th to copy QP. Started smoking my profits, so caught some blue cheese. When they came around, we was ducking the D's. Summertime pop out, still boom out the P's. I'm from the jungle, yeah, every day we rumble. The speed of this bullet, try to catch you, you gon' fumble.
What's your rap name, yo? Ayosay. Who got number one? Let me hear something, man.
There's like some violence in it, but it's like a realness, and it's like also creating art though from whatever circumstances you find yourself in, or trying to like find strength within, or finding some form of power within your words.
The concept of censoring should be taken in context with the position in which the individuals that are creating RM. They're locked down physically, and we're striving to show them to have freedom mentally.
All right, so for those who want to make beats, we're going to go make beats next door, and folks who want to write are going to stand here.
In the room next door, Darnell was showing Trigger and some of the other students how to make beats on a program called Cubasis on the iPad. For some of these people, they've never made music before, and they're picking it up fast. Trigger's working on some beats that he can rap over.
I've been working on a beat. I'm trying to put this beat together with some lyrics. It's more like a trap beat. They call it trap beats these days. It's like a more upright beat. Like it's like to get hype on the track. It has people moving around. It's a nice beat.
Darnell is showing him how to manipulate a loop.
Yeah, so drag it and just add it to the sequencer. Perfect, right? So now check it out. You see, so hit this. This is called time stretching. So tap that and hit auto. Yeah.
We've had hundreds of students come through our classes over the last 3 years. But one who really stood out for me is a brother who goes by the rap name of Suave De Niro.
Rikers Island is gladiator school in a way, but it's not how people think it is before they get there. Like, you gotta be true to yourself before anybody respects you. It teaches you how to be a man, basically. Like, jail is like an inside town. You get to see the different, how men really think and stuff, like how they move, like how sneaky they could be and stuff. They really prepare you for battle. That's why I say gladiator school. And now I'm just in school right now trying to get my education together. It's kind of hard trying to stage back into the outside world. It's a big difference, but I'm trying.
First I met Suave, and he's chilling there. He's got locks, he kept his shape up. He definitely used the iPad for a mirror a couple times. Make sure he had any blemishes on it, you know what I mean? When he started to rap, that just confirmed everything else, the thoughts, everything before that.
I've been writing rap since my second day during my bed. So I just got notebooks piled up, and I was just ready to hit the studio and just start recording in there. This is what motivated me. I said I started from the bottom, now I'm here. Came from no beef and losing niggas every year. To niggas coming home and some doing double years. Made something so my mother don't never drop a tear. Started on the island, I was chilling for some years. Starting on them niggas, I ain't even gotta swear. Too many niggas lying, they ain't ready for them years. But they putting on the front cause they ain't trying to show they scared. And the rest is just, it's dirty, so I'ma just keep it clean.
Suave is in the Bronx. Not far from where he spent 27 months on Rikers. From his jail cell, he used to find things to keep himself entertained at night, doing things like watching stray cats outside.
Like one time when I was in solitary confinement, at my cell, it used to be the cats outside. I used to just always look at them, just talk to them, instigate fights. At nighttime, you see a lot of cars driving and stuff. Little stuff like that become fascinating. You see the planes, and you go to another side of the building, you get to see the Empire State Building, change colors every 1 minute.
Coming up, we'll turn a jail cell into a recording studio, and we'll find out what it means to make music from your struggles when you're awaiting trial on Rikers Island.
The documentary is just one of our BBC World Service podcasts. There are many others to choose from. When you've finished listening to this edition, find out the 50 things that made the modern economy.
The Bureau's report was published amidst the media frenzy over Ernest Olgert's poisoned workmates. It gave tetraethyl lead a clean bill of health, and it was met with some scepticism. Under pressure from the public, the government organised a conference in Washington, D.C. in May 1925. The debate there exemplified the two extremes of approach to any new idea that looks risky but useful.
And to listen to the 50 things that made the modern economy, just search for it wherever you access your podcasts. Now we return to Beats, Rhymes and Justice, hip-hop on Rikers Island.
You're listening to BBC World Service. I'm Ryan Burvick. We're on Rikers Island, New York's notorious jail, working with some of the brothers there as part of a restorative program called Beats, Rhymes and Justice. They're writing rhymes, making beats, and trying to focus on building a positive life for themselves out of jail. We all know pressure makes diamonds. We all know that hard times can make you tough or suffer. And these hard times that individuals are living inside jail, inside Rikers Island, They are producing some of the most brilliant music that you will hear. Rikers Island has layers of individuals that are kept in solitary confinement, some in general population, some are in protective custody, all areas, and we only sometimes get to really reach the outer. I see a lot of ties with the gang affiliation. They work with each other on a daily in their homes and their housing units based on the gang. I've seen the gang affiliation thing hurt. There's certain bright, shining individuals with talent that we can't really blend with other bright, shining individuals with talent because of the concern of violence. There's so much more undiscovered diamonds.
We working on some tracks.
Here's Cameron Rasmussen.
Man, Ayosay over here. Did you produce that beat? Yeah. Produced the beat? Yeah, and then he's got another track he's about to put together. So you come a long way since Monday.
Ayosay is ready to record a new track.
We're gonna try to make this song as fast as we can. All my brothers write their verses as fast as they can. Try to make art, man. Try to perfect this art.
Check this out. He came up with this hook in only 10 minutes. It's a special thing to hear new music created in a moment like that.
That's a good start. That's money. That's a start.
While he's recording this track, he's free.
This week, that's what y'all working on.
But listen to the lyrics and you'll know that he hasn't forgotten where he is.
Last night, I wrote you a letter, but I've been thinking if you could get it, this shit'd get better. But you gone, just know I tatted your name on my arm. And let it disrespect you in my face and they gone. Smoking big blunts, ice cups of Dom Perignon. Mama told me I'll get better, just stop thinking about it. But the more I think about it, made me wanna crack a diamond. Just know Anthony Fries, you alive in my eyes. They say they love you, really though them niggas all lying. I f***ed up last summer and got locked up. I'm trying to make it out alive, so I was strapped up. Just me, Muggsy, and Lil Pop was on the block. Zanned up, getting county so just to go and shop. Well, now I'm sitting in my cell and I'm just thinking. Your mom told me that it all happens for a reason. They ask me how I'm feeling, I say I'm fine, but I'm bleeding. Up all night, I ain't blinking. They ask me how I'm feeling.
It's important to remember that we're trying to teach the brothers on Rikers more than music production. We don't want to give them false hope and say that they'll just make it as a rapper when they'll get out. Maybe some of them will, but it's about more than that.
So I work for an organization called the Center for Justice at Columbia University, and we're trying to do a number of things, but one of the things we're trying to do is reduce the number of people in jails and prisons in the United States. And we're going to do that through hip-hop. So people have heard of the 5 elements of hip-hop? Think about
Cameron teaches them about the 5 elements of hip-hop.
You can just shout it out. Rapping, the music is a part of it, right? So the 5, what's up? Beats.
We're talking about the DJ, the MC, the break dancer, the graffiti artist, and the 5th element.
And that's a piece of it.
Probably the most important of all, self-knowledge.
Be self, right? Knowledge of self. You ever heard that before? Knowledge of self.
Where you came from, right? So your history, where you are, and where you're going. So we got 5 elements.
When you serve time on Rikers Island, it's easy to lose perspective.
So how many people have heard this term mass incarceration?
Yeah, I heard of that.
You heard of that?
Yeah.
Anybody else? What's the word mass incarceration mean to you?
They're trying to lock up as much people as they can.
Okay.
We want the students to think about what mass incarceration means.
A large number of people coming into the jail.
And to give them a context for the situation they're in.
So how many people are in prison in the United States?
More than a million. More than a million.
More than a million. So it's more than a million. Keep going. So it's 2.3 million people in jails and prisons in the United States, right? If we look at the total number of people who are in jails, prisons, and on parole and probation, it's 7.1 million. How many people have a criminal record in this country?
50 million.
So 65 million. So this is like a quarter of the country, right? So these are not insignificant numbers, right? This is a lot of people. We are in a country where we incarcerate a lot of people, right? The other piece of this is that people do really bad things, right? Do we agree with that? Like people do very harmful things to other people.
I mean, not really make mistakes too.
People absolutely make mistakes, right? The question ends up being, to me, is when people do make mistakes that are really harmful, how do we respond to actually heal that harm, right? How do we invest in everybody's wellness? So again, it's about knowing where you came from and knowing where you are and then where you want to go, right? So this week we're going to spend some time a little bit about where you came from and where you are, but really about where you want to go.
Like, hold on, I got to flip.
We've been here for a few days now, and one of our students, Trigger, is laying down some verses. We're still in the classroom in the middle of jail, but we've managed to turn it into a studio. We've got microphones, a recording booth, and I'm behind the laptop working as his engineer, just watching his vision come alive.
Whip it.
It's a new song called Flip That Shit. I'm doing the ad-libs. I'm trying to see how they sound. If I don't like the way they sound, I'm going to take them all out and do it all over again. It's about me growing up through struggle for me. I had to sell drugs, get what I want. I wrote it last night. I was thinking about being home, getting back to the block, but then I'm like, nah, I'm going to just end up back here. So then I'm like, nah, I'm not going back on the block, but I can make a song about me on the block what I used to do and see if people relate to me.
Sounding like you're getting his thoughts across. He working through it.
Flip it.
Right now, I'm just being his assistant. I'm his engineer right now, so he's like giving me the guidance on what he feels is right.
Yeah, that's all I know. OG, only thing I go. When I'm in trouble, better know that dope. Like up and lean, I'm moving slow. Ben's really excite the host. So I gotta get back to the trap, man. I gotta stay focused, man. Yeah, that's a fact. Like, whip that shit. Man, flip that shit. Flip that shit. Bitch, I be flexing, crip, I be finessing shit. I be spinning beers and I make it bad. I'm Hollywood and I sell crack. Young nigga all in that trap.
So that's going back to the hook, right?
Great engineer. I need him, man. He patient with me.
I respect what you do. That's why I respect what you do. So, I give you the time to listen to you. I like how you did that. But I also want to hear you talk about that struggle, that story on this, that like how to maneuver, like how you don't want to go back. Talk about to the block. I want to hear something like that too.
I'm trying to see like where I could say. I could probably like take the third verse out and say something in the third verse like don't want to go back to the block or I'm gonna end up back in jail or something like that. But I gotta like.
Because people, it could be like first day out and everybody trying to get you back on the block, pulling you. Come flip that.
Come flip that like you used to. Come in.
Exactly. Because the first verse, it might sound like the stuff that might get you locked up. You know what I mean? But I respect your craft, so I know that you're gonna be able to put it all together. You know what I mean? I'm trying to inspire Trigger to do something more challenging with his lyrics. Instead of rapping about how his life used to be, I want him to think about how he wants his life to be when he gets out. Trigger's one of around 8,000 people serving time on Rikers Island. Glenn Martin is a criminal justice reform advocate who was an inmate here in the 90s. Now he's leading a campaign to close the island.
81% of the people that are there are actually detainees and not convicted of a crime, and many of them may not ultimately be convicted of a crime. However, they're subjected to a tremendous amount of abuse while they're there, and while people believe that our Constitution gives you what's called speedy trial in the United States, people stay on Rikers anywhere between a day and 6 years, most of them awaiting trial. 89% of them are people of color, and we spend about $209,000 per bed per year.
Since we recorded this program, Rikers Island has made news headlines around the world.
New York City will close the Rikers Island jail facility. It will take many years.
In March, New York's Mayor Bill de Blasio announced plans to close Rikers Island. The city has set a 10-year goal for the departure of the last inmate from the island. Yeah, but until then, we want to keep working with those serving time there. Geraldine Downey is a professor of psychology at Columbia University and the director of the Center for Justice, which organizes our Beats, Rhymes, and Justice program.
This is not the kind of environment that you want anybody going into. Why are we working in Rikers? Why are we, in a sense, helping to maintain the system? We can't really be waiting for change in order to support the young people who are there or the people who are there now. And if there's something that we can do to make their time there more useful and to get them to think differently about what possibilities are out there when they come home from Rikers, then I think it's worthwhile what we're doing.
Yeah. They know I'm fresh home. Many bitches like those, they want a bone.
Ayosay's been on Rikers for 5 months now, and in that time he's written over 50 songs. Writing while he's locked up isn't just a distraction, but it's a way of making sense of his life.
With the pad and with the pen, I have over 50 songs. I've only been locked up 5 months. I get up in the morning. Sometimes I have thoughts in the shower. When I take a shower, come up with melodies and stuff. Write it down real quick. I got songs I be writing about girls. I got songs I ask for God to forgive me. Oh, right here. Lord, forgive me, Lord, Lord. Please forgive me for my sins. Lord, forgive me, Lord, Lord. Please forgive me for my sins. Since a youngin' man, I got it the hard way. Always jugging, I finesse out the hard way, yeah, yeah. Lord, forgive me, Lord, Lord. Please forgive me for my sins. Lord, forgive me, Lord, Lord. Please forgive me for my sins. Every day I wake up feeling trapped. Straight face, I don't even wanna laugh. I'm supposed to be a role model to my little brother. No, my little sister lost and all I could do is judge her, yeah. Mama told me it's gonna be alright, just hold your head. Keep thanking God, cause I know that I'm supposed to be dead. Yeah, I'm feeling like Ricky after he shook a shot to the back. Praying God forgive me, cause I ain't never coming back. Sitting in my cell, yeah, I'm incarcerated. Talking to the Lord, thinking I ain't got no patience. Lord, forgive me, Lord, Lord. Please forgive me for my sins. Lord, forgive me, Lord, Lord. Please forgive me for my sins.
The brothers we work with could be in there for anything. Hopping turnstiles to stealing a cufflink. But we never ask. It's not important. The idea is because we have a goal to teach them how to express themselves creatively so they can divert their energy into something else. I'm going to find out what I need to know in the interaction anyway.
We don't ask because, one, it's none of our business, and two, a lot of the adults who go in there and interact with them are their lawyers or social workers, so much of their time is spent about their case. But it still comes up.
That's Cameron Rasmussen, who leads the Beats, Rhymes, and Justice program with me.
There's interactions where people went to court that day, want to talk about it. But our last cycle, we had one guy get out halfway through the program, which was amazing. And we also had another guy who's facing 15 to life. And that's the reality of jail. There's a lot of instability.
For some of our students, this isn't their first time on Rikers Island. The recidivism rate in New York is high. When I was recording Trigger's new track, Flip That, he opened up about the circumstances that led to his current time on the island.
I got locked up for what I'm talking about right now. I went back to the block and I was doing the same thing when my girlfriend, which is my baby mother now, she told me, you got a child now, you can't be doing this, so I wasn't listening to her. I should have listened to my mom, should have listened to my girl when they told me stop. My fear is her fear. She thinks if I come back to the block, I'm going to start flipping work again and I'm going to get locked up again. That's kind of my fear too. Getting locked up is traumatized, I want to be home. I got a 4-year-old daughter. She thinks I'm in school right now. I told her I'm in school. I had to lie to her. I don't like lying to her. Sooner or later, she's probably going to catch on when she get older, my dad was locked up. But the simple fact, I didn't want to let her know I'm locked up because I think it's like a cycle. Because I visit my father in jail. And that's why I don't allow her to come visit me. I talk to her on the phone. I'm like, all right, baby girl, I love you. I got to get back to class, which I'm really going in a cell.
Yeah, think about it. Everything you just said is like the parallel of flipping it. What do you flip? Your lifestyle. You can flip, just flip that. I was living this. I can flip. Now I'm going to flip that. Flip it. You know what I mean? Because you can flip your situation like a coin toss. You was down, now you up, now you down. You can flip that.
Instead of saying you used to be in that trap.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Oh,
yeah.
and you can say that to somebody in the trap right now. So you got the experience. Now you can tell them, you can motivate yourself to flip it. You can motivate someone else to flip it. Those are the situations.
I pick a bitch, I'm beginning to I be fancy crib, I be finesse ish. I be spinning beers that I make them back. I'm Hollywood and I sell crack, yeah, all in that track. I had to get it, that's a fact.
Suave has been trying to flip his narrative too.
703 GQ Suave, man. I got him. If I could feel it in the air, then he could feel it in his chest.
He spent 27 months on Rikers Island before he was released in September 2016. Now he's back home in the Bronx and trying to adapt to life on the outside. It's not easy. He's in a class for students 4 or 5 years younger than him, but he still dreams of being a rapper.
This one is kind of like a story I'm telling about somebody. The name of my song is called Blood and the Truth. I said some niggas stay, some niggas run. The boys want me to snitch, but I ain't moving my tongue. He got away with the murder, but he got caught with the gun. He walked around with them killers and he stay out on the run. The street got these niggas caught up quick, and I ain't caught up in that life. I still caught that hit. These niggas ducking from the bullet, still caught that shit. Thought he was slick, but he should've never walked that strip.
I'm Suave, De Niro's mom. When I was 18, 19, 20, I had a boyfriend that went to Rikers Island. I don't really remember it, but I never thought I would ever see that place again. My first visit to go and see him, I bawled out on the bus because I never thought I would ever see that place again. Not only that, but for my son.
Sometimes we invite the students' parents into our class to hear what they've been working on.
We was there for Family Day, and they started introducing them and letting them say their raps and stuff. I just felt proud, Like, my son is really think he a rapper. They would say, my son, they was like, okay. They tell him, all right, Suave, you know your mom here, no cursing. So, you know, he had to do a little clean rap and stuff. It brought tears in my eyes because I know what I have, but for my son to be in jail, it was a sour note, you know, bittersweet.
Oh, well, it was a little problem situation I had. It was around my old neighborhood. I was with my girlfriend minding my business. Things got out of hand. Somebody got shot. I got arrested at Rikers Island.
It was just a nightmare from the time when the situation took place. Tell him now, like, you got to be mindful. I'm tired. Like, I don't think I can do this again. So he has the choice to do what he's supposed to do. Like, you can say jail there. He still hasn't been charged. They let him out on what they call R&R, release on their own recognizance. I tell him, you have to be on your P's and Q's because anything he does, he facing 5 to 7 years right now. Stay out of trouble, no arrest, no nothing, no police contact, no. Go to your program, do your probation, and you good for at least for a year. Clean slate, no record, no nothing, no nothing. I tell him now, God gave you a second chance. You use this time wisely. My child don't know how to travel. He don't know how to do certain things. He don't know how to get a job. This is what you need to be focusing on right now. I'm telling you, you need to be home so that you can learn these tools that the streets is never going to teach you. The streets will never help you move forward. The streets will keep you down.
Here's Glenn Martin again from the Close Rikers campaign.
When I think of some of the small boutique programs at Rikers, like the Beats and Rhymes program, that gives people access to opportunity. And then I think about these young people who get excited about the idea of being able to do these programs in jail. And for many of them, they're looking for an outlet to express themselves. I think that it is a travesty that belongs to the rest of society that these young folks have to find themselves in prison to suddenly be exposed to these opportunities.
We can't have this conversation without rethinking the way that we use incarceration or incapacitation.
Cameron Rasmussen.
Our program's amazing, and it would be even more amazing if there wasn't any need to bring this into a jail and this could just be done outside. Doing things like Beats, Rhymes, and Justice before, we should do that, right? And part of it's about funding, it's about capacity. I also think that things like this, similar types of educational artist support for young people happen. But it just happens for certain groups of people. If you go to the Upper West Side, you don't see a heavy police presence. And you know that many of the young people in the Upper West Side have access to after-school programs and high-quality music classes and things like that. And if you go to other places that don't have the same resources and instead are being criminalized, I think we need to expand it, but it's, again, a part of a bigger structural conversation.
Personally, I've seen how programs like these can change a life. I was involved in acting programs since I was young. I started off-Broadway plays. I ran track. I did gymnastics. I did all of these things as a result of me being a hard-to-control child. I didn't go too far, but I would try to run away. You know, I was taken to precincts numerous times before I was 12 years old, spent nights there, and been in cuffs before my teenage years. So I was ushered into programs as my parents got more educated. So I realized I'm a product of these programs, and they did a lot of good for me. I've been trying to encourage Trigger to take a different approach to his lyric writing, to think about how he can strive for a better life for himself and his family when he's off Rikers again, without falling victim to all the temptation of life back on the block. We're into our last recording session together, and he's feeling inspired.
I'm about to lay another track down. It's really about me, listening. I should have listened to my girl. Should have listened to my mom. I just got your letter, though. Gotta hop on my A game. Gotta get them straight A's. Man, I should have listened to my moms when they told me stop, but I didn't listen. I was too busy in the kitchen trying to find the right number for the chickens. Man, I don't know. My girl told me stop doing what I was doing. So then after that, I'm making this track now because she wrote me in a letter that I got to go to school. That's where I got to get my straight A's came from. I got to hop on my A game. I got to get my straight A's. That's where that came from. Being in the kitchen, that's like trapping. The definition of a trap is like a house that you don't live in. You maybe sell drugs out of and stuff like that. I'm talking about how I'm supposed to change. So now I'm starting to listen. The whole lot of dreams that I gotta get to, a whole lot of money that I gotta get to. I'm not talking about trap money anymore. I'm talking about legal money now. It's a whole lot of money that I gotta get to, and a whole lot of dreams and a whole lot of money part. It goes together because I want to get signed by a record label.
and, you know, actually have my family set.
Cameron's coming to our studio classroom to hear Trigger's new track, Miss You Too.
So tell me about the track.
The track I'm about to lay right now, this is how my life changed. Like, I don't really call myself a lyricist. I don't really call myself a rapper. I call myself an entertainer. Yeah.
You think you're an artist?
I might be an artist.
Why entertainer?
An entertainer because I change my song moods for how people feel.
This is my opinion. You take it for what it's worth. You could be an entertainer, but you're definitely an artist. To me, I think about, like, there's certainly a craft in entertainment, but you're also writing these songs as your own self-expression, right? That's like your thoughts, your feelings, and it's not just putting on a show. You're like putting out who you are. We got 20 minutes left of production time, and then we'll come back together and give folks some certificates and letters. This is jail, and jail's not a good place to be. No one wants to be here, and so when you have people coming in, making music, bringing food, just building relationships, I'd probably want more of that too if I was stuck in a place that's generally not very kind to the soul and to the spirit. Most of these guys, I hope to see them again, but we don't know. Sometimes when we do programs in the future, we'll see them. Occasionally, you guys will get out and they'll come hit us up. But the very first time we did a week-long intensive, it was 5 hours a day for 5 days. And it was actually the first time from me leaving Rikers, and actually, like, I cried about the week and the heaviness of it. We spent so much time with them and got really close, and it was hard at the end.
Good job, boy. We've got just enough time to record Trigger's track.
Mic check, mic check.
Coming to you live from Rikers Island. Indeed, right?
Hey, Rikers Island.
Yeah, we live. Who would have thought we had the lab at the studio in Rikers?
I never thought we'll have a studio in Rikers, man.
Yeah, we got one.
I used to sit in my cell and pray for all these better days. Read your letter like every day. You said that I need to change. I'm like, damn, you right, babe. Should have changed my ways a long time ago. See, now you see what type of time I'm on, so I don't want to let this hour go.
Well, I like that. I like that last line. So now you see what type of time I'm on, so I want to let this hour go. I like that. Here's my colleague, Darnell.
When the program is ending, symbolically or metaphorically, you're walking out and you're leaving and they're going back to their cells.
Well, you guys ready?
It's all like moments that, you know, you just acknowledge the space.
Wynette Saunders is Rikers' Deputy Commissioner for Youthful Offender Programming. She oversees all programming for 16 to 21-year-olds in the department's custody.
I have seen a lot of young people's growth while they've been here in our custody. Sometimes young people come in and they feel hopeless. And just through interactions, through programming, you can see that hope. And you can see the light in their eyes that light up because they understand, you know what, I can do something good and I do have people that are going to support me through this process. It's a way of escape from a place where there's no escape.
I'm signing basically certificates of completion for the Beats, Rhymes, and Justice Institute. That comes along with attached with letters that they can send use for their parole or for their cases.
We got some letters and certificates for you. We want to celebrate. I mean, y'all put in work this week.
Put in work. It's something positive, man, so I appreciate it. I hope y'all come back.
I learned a lot working with you guys.
I don't know what the future holds for any of them, but what I do know is that by them applying themselves to something, that diversion of energy is the success of our program. Ayosay, yeah. Yeah, bro. Let me tell you, man, it's a blessing to meet, powerful individuals like you and your team. You held down, you kind of brought the energy up and make sure everybody around you provided the same energy for you.
I appreciate you guys coming out and taking your time. I appreciate you guys for me feeding us, for me giving us the chance to make us feel free for a moment. Like you said, we don't do nothing in the house. We stay trapped all day. So coming here for like 3-4 hours, 2 hours, it's a blessing, man.
We would love for this to have an impact on folks' trajectories, educationally, professionally, just sense of like wellness inside themselves. I think our programs are generally either a week long or 4 weeks. It's maybe 12 to 25 hours with them. And it's inside of a society that responds to social problems by criminalizing and incarcerating people. And so to try and say that an amazing program like this is going to be the reason why someone doesn't come back to jail, it's hard for me to say that with any real belief, understanding that, again, certain populations are more targeted. The pitfalls are everywhere. We place a lot of emphasis on individual accountability, and certainly there's a need for that, but we don't place enough emphasis on making sure that people come home and have jobs and places to live and education and healthcare and all the basic things we all really want and need.
Keep flowing, man. Say what's on your mind. That's all. Say what's on your mind. Say what you want to say and mean what you say. You know what I mean? Trigger is the last to get his certificate. It's been an important week for him.
I really appreciate this program. It gave me time out the house to actually do something productive. I got 2 tracks done this week and 2 of my own beats done that I made. So it's a big step for me. I'm like, damn, you right, babe. Should've changed my ways a long time ago. Now you see what type of time I'm on, so I don't wanna let this hour go.
Since we recorded these students on Rikers, Trigger and Ayosay have remained on the island. They're still awaiting trial. But in the spring, Suave was arrested and sent to Rikers again. His mom says she's trying to keep focused. You've been listening to Beats, Rhymes, and Justice, hip-hop on Rikers Island. I'm Ryan Burvick from Audio Pictures. The producer was Paul Smith. It was a Just Radio production for the BBC World Service.
Thank you for listening. There will be more from the documentary podcast soon. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. And don't forget, do try our other BBC World Service podcasts too.